Okay, let's dive into something wild. What if I told you that the invisible world of microbes living on and in you, and all around us really, is constantly broadcasting messages? We're talking messages about health, about disease, about the state of the world. And what if we're right on the edge of learning how to understand this universal language of life? I mean, it sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? A tiny little honeybee, a creature we just associate with flowers and honey, could it really detect one of the most complex diseases known to humanity? Well, this isn't just some hypothetical. It's a real question that researchers are asking. And the answer, amazingly, seems to be yes. Which leads to the real question: how?
And yeah, it's not just about bees, not by a long shot. We see these seemingly magical abilities all across the animal kingdom. It's a real, documented phenomenon that science is only now starting to get a handle on, to really systematize and understand.
The sheer variety of these super sniffers is what's truly mind-blowing. You've got honeybees that can literally classify the chemical signatures of lung cancer. Dogs that can feel an owner's seizure coming on minutes before it actually happens. Get this. Giant African pouch rats are being used to screen human samples for tuberculosis, and they are incredibly good at it. This isn't a party trick. These animals are detecting super specific scents for everything from diseases to narcotics and explosives. Okay, so this brings us right back to the central mystery of it all. How is any of this possible? What is this invisible signal that they're all tuning into that we humans are completely oblivious to? Well, the answer, according to some really fascinating research, lies in a secret signal. A signal being broadcast by the huge, invisible world of our microbiome. And that signal is made of something called volatile organic compounds, or VOCs. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Every living thing, and that includes you, is constantly giving off a unique chemical scent cloud. It's like your own personal chemical fingerprint. And that fingerprint is created and constantly changed by the trillions of microbes living on and inside of you. These VOCs, that's the hidden language. It's broadcasting your health status to the entire world, whether you know it or not. So the big idea here, the main takeaway, is that the microbiome isn't just along for the ride. The researchers are proposing that it actually functions as a universal signal layer. Its chemical fingerprints, these VOCs, are the go-between for interactions all across nature. We're talking plants to pollinators, humans to animals. It's a fundamental shared language of life. So, if there's a universal language out there, how do we build a translator, a Rosetta Stone for biology? Well, that's exactly where this new framework comes in. The whole goal is to systematically decode this hidden language using this really powerful combo of ancient animal senses and cutting-edge artificial intelligence. They call it the Animal AI Microbiome Framework, or AAM for short. It sounds complex, but it really breaks down into three pretty simple steps. First, you have the signal. That's the message about health or stress being broadcast by the microbiome's VOCs. Second, you need a transducer. That's the animal's nose, an absolutely incredible biological sensor that picks up the signal. And finally, you need the decoder. That's where artificial intelligence comes in, to analyze the animal's reaction and turn it into useful data we can actually read. So how exactly does that decoding part work? Well, you can get the data in two main ways. The first is a behavioral readout. That's basically just watching for a trained action. A dog sitting down or a bee sticking its little tongue out. Simple observation. But if you want even more precise data, you can use a neural readout, where you're directly measuring the electrical signals from the animal's smell centers. So one is simple and direct, the other is super high-tech. Okay, so the framework is really elegant, but what can we actually do with it? This is where things get really, really exciting, because we're talking about moving this from the lab into our everyday lives. And the goals here are not small. They're incredibly ambitious, but they're also concrete. We're talking about using dogs to screen for multiple cancers just from a breath sample. Getting a seizure alert from a dog 5, 10, even 15 minutes before it happens. Using bees to triage lung conditions with super high accuracy in less than a second. Or even using bees in fields to get an alert when crops are stressed. These aren't just vague ideas. They have very specific targets for success. Just look at this number. The target for using dogs in multi-cancer breath screening is an accuracy of 95% or higher. I mean, just let that sink in. That is an astonishingly high bar, and it shows you the incredible potential of this for early, non-invasive medical diagnosis. And this goes so far beyond just one single application. Why does this matter? Because a future powered by scent could totally revolutionize entire fields.
In medicine, you're looking at earlier disease detection. In agriculture, healthier and more productive crops. In security, obviously better threat detection. And you could even use it in our own homes to monitor for environmental toxins like mold.
So as we start to wrap this up, let's just zoom out for a second. What we're really talking about here is the future of smell itself. It's about finally recognizing, and maybe even learning to speak, a true cross-species language.
Now, of course, anytime you talk about combining animals and new technology, you have to ask about responsibility and ethics. And the researchers are really clear on this. The whole approach is built on a foundation of animal welfare. They use positive rewards, and the default is always the simple, non-invasive behavioral observation. And just as important for any humans involved, robust privacy and consent are absolute non-negotiable priorities. You know, I think this one quote from the research paper just sums it up perfectly. It says, "This work reframes animal olfaction from isolated case studies into a generalizable AI-decoded platform." What that really means is, we're moving past just saying, "Wow, look at that clever animal." Instead, we're building a whole new technology platform for understanding our world, all through a sense we've underestimated for far too long. Which brings us to this final, pretty mind-bending thought. By combining the ancient, incredible sensitivity of an animal's nose with the modern power of AI, are we on the verge of finally learning to speak a universal language of life? A language that's been broadcast all around us this whole time, just waiting for a translator.